The girl simply dipped her hand into the sea. Moments later, countless fish gathered around her. The waiting fishermen were all smiles. With the girl's help, they always came back with full nets. But Ella's ability was far from just that. 10 years ago, the mayor rescued her from a sunken ship. From the moment he held her, the mayor noticed that the wound he had just received had already healed. When he brought Ella back home that same day, his mother-in-law, who had been in a constant daze, suddenly had enough strength to lift her head. Since that day, the clinic on the island was no longer visited by anyone. On the contrary, a long line formed outside the mayor's door, because just by spending a few minutes with Ella, the sick would immediately feel better. And as Ella's grandmother, Aunt May, she was completely freed from the torment of Alzheimer's. In this way, although Ella was the mayor's daughter, she was a gift from heaven to all the islanders. They wanted to keep Ella forever, even cutting off all contact with the outside world. But no one expected that the angel like Ella had a terrifying side. One day, curious, she brought her hand close to a beehive and immediately attracted bees to land on her. But while Ella was enjoying the bees' kisses, she noticed the boy next to her was stung and crying out in pain. In a panic, Ella could only use her power, and instantly, billions of bees died in an instant. To prevent others from being scared of her, Ella asked the boy to keep it a secret. Little did she know, this would plant the seeds of disaster. A few days later, the children brought a bunch of little red berries, knowing they were highly poisonous. The kids deliberately ate them, because they had played this game many times before. Every time, Ella was able to heal the poisoned ones. But this time, when they rushed to the mayor's house, they found Ella was not there. It turned out the mayor had taken his daughter out to sea to fish. At that moment, they were several kilometers out on the water. Seeing the kids already showing signs of poisoning, the adults could only send them to the abandoned clinic. Even though the doctor worked quickly to perform a stomach pump, the berries were just too toxic. When the mayor rushed back with Ella, Little Bai had already passed away. But with a glimmer of hope, the mayor brought Ella to Little Bai's side. With everyone watching eagerly, Ella reached her hand out to Little Bai, but she still failed. Listening to the child's family's sorrowful cries, Ella felt deeply upset. It was the first time she had disappointed everyone. After attending Little Bai's funeral, she secretly ran to a place where no one was around and tried to revive a bee. But in the end, she realized she wasn't all-powerful. From that moment on, her healing ability disappeared. The mayor quickly called the islanders together to explain this, but just as he suggested his daughter take a good rest for a while, the islanders refused to agree, because meeting with Ella had become part of their daily lives. What he didn't expect was that Ella's grandmother, Aunt May, chose to side with the islanders this time. Helplessly, he had no choice but to let his daughter continue meeting with them. Although the islanders kindly brought gifts for Ella, it only made him feel even guiltier. Everyone was downcast, as Ella's superpower hadn't returned. Not even the mayor knew how long it would last. A few days later, the parents of the child came to the mayor, asking for permission to take their daughter away from this place of sorrow. Although they repeatedly promised they wouldn't reveal Ella's secret, the mayor still refused their request. As time passed, Aunt May's Alzheimer's reappeared. This left him utterly terrified. Luckily, at that moment, the doctor found a way to cure Ella by watching happy TV programs. The new TV programs made Ella happy again. That night, the mayor noticed his daughter's healing ability had returned, but only when she was asleep would her powers be released. For Ella's health, he reminded his wife to keep it a secret for now, especially not to let Aunt May know. But looking at her mother getting more and more confused every day, his wife couldn't help but bring Aunt May to Ella while she was sleeping. When Aunt May came out of Ella's room, the world in front of her was clear and bright again. However, as soon as she benefited from it, she spread the news. The next morning, the stubborn old man found the mayor and forced him to figure out a way for Ella to go out to sea with them, because ever since Ella got sick, they hadn't been able to catch a single fish. If this continued, the islanders would go hungry in the winter. But now that Ella only had superpowers while asleep, before the mayor could come up with a solution, Aunt May sent over a bottle of sleeping pills and asked the mayor to give them to Ella.